The time goes by so fast when I'm next to you, Leonard. Okay, so here it is, Sunday. What is it? Lady in the Legend, right? Today's
That's
Lady in the Legend.
Is, yes.
All right. 9 o'clock is when we start, but we do like to join you a couple minutes early so that we could get our friends, into the chat room and we could get the sound playing.
We're on.
All right, lucky we don't even have to worry about creating ads on the fly.
That's it, the Lady in the Legend show. And don't forget, if you missed yesterday.
Let me tell the chat room that the sound is good already.
If you missed Saturday, the Saturday baseball with Andy, it was a phenomenal job once again. And we're doing it 7 days a week. If you're listening for the first time, every single day at 9 o'clock, we have something to say. Not only about baseball, but about life. Because let's face it, what is baseball? It's a way of enjoying yourself. Timothy, my hooker, good morning.
Yes, it is. It's a great way to enjoy yourself and escape, just like really any sport, really.
That's right.
If you can manage it still.
And that's what we try to do here, allow you to escape from all the nonsense going on in this world.
All right, so Chris from Cambridge is in the chat room, and I just want to... He always comes up with a birthday.
Yes.
Today, I'm wondering if you ever heard of Jeff Bettendorf, okay? It's his 62nd birthday. His name is Jeff Bettendorf.
Nope.
Well, he was drafted ahead of Tim Wallach.
Big deal. Backup catcher to the Mets.
And the biggest accomplishments of this guy's career was 5 minor league championships and 3 minor league all-star selections. So that just goes to show you how hard it is to actually get draft guys. I don't know. Once it gets to the second round, you're...
Welcome aboard, everybody. Chris Gallo has officially finished playing golf yesterday. Nice going, Chris Gallo.
What, the season's ending, so he golfed all night?
No, he golfed. Well, sometimes it takes a little longer to finish 9 holes.
Okay.
James Caplion is here. Laura is with us. Mary is here. Malpal is here. Timothy, my hooker. Tommy Johnson. Triple Play. Wow, and a bunch of guests in the chat room whose names, if you can, try to register because it'll bring your name into the chat room.
And you can then interact with everybody, right?
Right. And it costs absolutely $0.
It costs time.
It doesn't even cost time.
Let's talk about Ohtani since that's really what we're here for. Who's
Ohtani? Who is Ohtani? My first, I think the first thing that jumps into my head, whether you're a fantasy player or just a regular baseball fan, and I'm going to ask the chat room to contribute to a lot of stuff today.
Yes, interact with us for sure.
But the first question I have, will Mike Trout get traded? Will Mike Trout get traded? Now, I don't care what they're saying. They didn't win with Trout and Ohtani. They didn't even make the playoffs with Trout and Ohtani. What makes anybody think that Trout will not be traded? It makes no sense.
Well, because the guy in charge, Maniason, if that's his name, Maniason, he said straight up they're not trading Trout. Now, that was just a couple weeks ago.
It doesn't matter. Do you believe what they say?
Look,
did you believe what anybody said yesterday?
I believe it when it comes out of the president of baseball operations or whatever this guy's job is. He's the one in charge of the team. So when he says something, I listen to him. But does it change now that they didn't get Ohtani? Because whether or not this guy, he was very determined. Also, when he said that he wasn't going to trade Trout, he was saying that to maybe get Ohtani to come back to the Angels.
Yes.
Because, now that Ohtani signed with another team, could he change his mind because of that? Absolutely. Because even though they said they're not in the mood to rebuild, they feel good about the pieces that they have, and they're going to try to build around Trout. But now Ohtani is not there. That has to change their outlook or perspective on how they want to deal with their team.
I mean, you got to take a look at.
You have to be reasonable when you're doing
And
this.
so I believe, and I will go and listen. I made a huge error yesterday, but
Sending Ohtani to the Mets?
no, yes, predicting. But I will tell you, I didn't do it just for the hell of it. I didn't do it for the shock value. I really did think that the Mets were going to get Ohtani.
So now that Ohtani didn't sign with the Mets, now how confident are you? I'm just assuming this. You didn't tell me, but I assume you believe that Yamamoto is going to be a Met.
I would say if I had to pick any team, it would be the Mets.
Okay.
But it could be anywhere. I mean, I don't know.
Do you think that the Yankees, or do you think, I read, everybody's got their take, and I love to talk about what people say that they pique my interest. I forgot what I was going to say.
About Yamamoto.
Yes. What if the Dodgers? Do you think the Dodgers could get Yamamoto? A lot of people are saying, what the hell? What's another couple $100 million, right?
I think the Dodgers will get Yamamoto.
Oh, give me a break.
The Dodgers need the pitching probably
then
more
something
than anybody.
is wrong with baseball because they talk about all this deferred. First of all,
I don't want to get into that because I don't quite
there is
understand
no details on this deferred stuff at all. There's like no details. So while it's out there that he's getting some of his money deferred to keep the Dodgers from going over the tax threshold, it's BS because there's no way they could get under the tax threshold at this point. They have like a tiny...
Well, they're not getting under it.
So if they're already paying it, then who cares? Either way... When you talk about deferred, you could be like, what's that Mets guy that's still getting paid every year?
Oh, Bobby Bonilla.
Okay, so are you talking deferred like Bobby Bonilla deferred? Or are you talking like we're going to pay you a lot more in the later years of your contract? That's what they're making it sound like on TV.
It only makes sense. And don't forget, Ohtani will not be pitching this year. So they got Bobby Miller, Emmett Sheehan, Ryan Pepio, Walker Buehler, if he comes back, Tony Gonsolin, who had Tommy John surgery, Dustin May, Clayton Kershaw. This has to be his last year. The Dodgers are in trouble pitching-wise. I think people are not really talking about it right.
I think they feel like
Miller,
the Dodgers will address it. There's plenty of pitchers named Bauer on the market.
You asked that question. And the Dodgers definitely... People are asking in the chat room.
Is Captain Danny here today?
He hasn't.
Our biggest Dodger resident insider is not here. And guess what? I got to break the news to our resident Dodgers fan, Pesky Danny. Captain Danny.
Yes. So the Dodgers are far from being out of it.
Can I talk a little bit about how the news broke yesterday?
Well,
so they talk about... Yes, Ohtani actually broke the news himself on Instagram, which is wonderful. I can't think of I'm very for this, okay? I like it. But Ohtani is not active on Twitter, X, okay? I'm going to call it X. Ohtani is not active on X, and the first person to break the Ohtani news on X was Jim Bowden, right? We have been friends with Jim Bowden in the past, and we like him. Lenny's always trusting Jim Bowden. I think that Ohtani's agent, and going back and looking at Jim Bowden's prior posts, okay, over the last couple days, I guarantee that this agent was planting things for Bowden. He was the one who actually put out the news of the private flight from Anaheim to Toronto. He is the one that said, I don't know, if this is true, but here's a flight log with the private jet leaving. But the day before that, Bowden posted a tweet that was like, word for word, you could tell it came from the agent. It was like, we should respect Ohtani's privacy at this time. It was from the agent for sure. Then Bowden puts out the whole bonanza, the bonanza spectacular of the jet flying to Toronto, and all the media breaks loose. The agent could have planted that to get the most money from the Dodgers.
I'm sure they did. That's the whole thing.
Now, this is all speculation, of course. This is just how my mind works when I see it, because thanks to The Athletic, I read that huge piece about this agent, and it was very informative about how he does things, and I do really appreciate that The Athletic does good for this kind of thing. Absolutely. Anyways, the agent was on top of this. He was in charge of every message that was put out, every bit of media insider info. And I think that now I got to say, is it a good thing that Jim Bowden is an agent of this guy? He's a plant, for sure. If this guy, Nez, tells him to say something, he's going to do it.
Nez is the agent.
All right.
Now, the Dodgers are spending, this is crazy, $700 million on Ohtani.
Yeah.
Now, the population in the United States is 327 million, give or take a few, right?
Yes.
That means the Dodgers could have given every American $1 million and still have money left over for Ohtani.
You know that's not true, right?
How could it not be true?
Because the math doesn't add up. It's $2.14 per American.
Well, look, they could have given...
I don't know where this comes from, but I mean, it sounds confusing if you don't think it through.
What's the population? 327 million.
Right, so and if you give $2 to 327 million, you're going to get 700 million.
That's what they're giving them.
$2.
700 million.
They make it sound like it's, first of all, apparently, from what I read, all these people say, well, this is the way it is from now on. This is how much that players are going to cost, right? Because everything costs more now. So they're just this rampant inflation. They're like, this is the new $700 million. That's the new contract.
We'll see. Now, good morning to Leonard Donaldson.
Good grief.
Dirty Eck is here.
Hello to Dirty Eck.
What?
Dirty Eck.
Dirty Eck. We love Dirty Eck. We love Leonard Donaldson. We love you all.
I like let's read the chat room. I'll be reading up on over here.
If it wasn't for the chat room, we wouldn't be here. I don't care how good you think we might be. The chat room does it all. Now,
J.D. Martinez has no job now for sure. But
no, he does not.
Right.
But he was a free agent anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so he'll sign somewhere.
Absolutely.
And I don't think...
And Jock Peterson? That's...
Also, I don't think, look, I don't think the Angels are going to keep Trout. Okay?
You don't? You said...
I think there's a good chance if they get the right kind of deal... They will. Why not? What's holding them back?
Poor Trout is stuck on this team too. If they don't, he should be praying that they trade him every day. But as Malpal brings up in the chat room, it's going to be very hard to trade a Trout contract like that. He's got this long-lasting contract, and he's showing signs of aging. He can't stay healthy all the time. That's fine, but, it's not going to get better.
That's something I can't talk about now, but right now it's amusing at the realization that Ohtani just signed for more money than the A's owner Fisher has spent on the A's entire payroll in the last 10 years, okay? So,
right, which is, okay.
So
explain this to me.
Yes.
The whole point of doing these, they're fully admitting it on TV and in the news that the reason that they're deferring these payments to Ohtani is so that they can stay that they could have a reasonable payroll. So if they're circumventing this whole, what is it called? It's the tax threshold that they do. It's a bunch of bull dinky. That's all I'm trying to say.
Well,
it's a bunch of bull dinky because teams are figuring out a way around it. What's the point? You look at what Steve Cohen did with the Mets last year, and it was just a sign of things to come. Although he didn't go as far as one would think, and one is speculating that the Dodgers are about to go this year. These guys I don't care if it's one more player for $70 million, the Dodgers have a way of crapping the bed when it comes down to getting the World Series done. They did win in 2020, but
the Angels netted $10 to $20 million a year on Ohtani-related advertising, promotions, and market revenue.
So what do you think about the cap problem? With baseball, some teams spend $300 million a year. Now we're up to $500 million. Some teams.
There should be a minimum to spend and a minimum and a maximum to spend. Minimum, maximum spending. There's got to be some control over the payrolls. So even though...
But there's teams like Tampa Bay that don't have a lot of payroll, and they do compete, but they're not like the A's.
You'll get that.
They're not like the Pirates.
And don't forget, the Dodgers and this deal. Now, here's something you got to remember. It's not yet official. The deal's not official.
Have the Dodgers come out and said anything yet? I don't think the Dodgers Twitter has even mentioned Ohtani as part of their team.
The Dodger officials
maybe they have
declined comment when asked if Ohtani had taken a physical. And that's the final step before a deal can become official. What gets me...
we already know the guy's got 2 Tommy Johns. I don't know how much... What are they going to say no to?
One of them being recent, and it's beyond belief. It's beyond belief how this deal went through.
Okay.
Beyond belief.
What are they going to... How could he possibly fail a medical? Well, he's got 2 Tommy Johns on his pitching arm, so...
Now
you would have to have something pretty bad.
You talk about the unprecedented deferrals of the majority of his salary. They were Ohtani's idea to ease the Dodgers' luxury tax and cash flow burdens to give the team the flexibility to be as competitive as possible. And that's what that's all about.
Right, okay, so...
How much do you think the get-in price for an opening day ticket against the Cardinals at Dodger Stadium?
Right now it's $350. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know it was...
You gotta pay attention!
How would I know it's trivia time?
It's to the chat room. $359 is the get-in price for opening day tickets against the St. Louis Cardinals.
For now it is. But those are going up by the second right now. Also, I saw some funny memes on X about the Dodgers snack bar next year.
Oh, really?
A hot dog, $500.
Oh,
nachos, $500.
Look at this chat room. Chat room is fantastic.
Okay.
And thank you all so much.
Some owners need to step it up. Multi-billion-dollar owners saying their market is the issue shouldn't own a team. Also, King Turd is in the house, okay?
Good to see him.
Yes.
Now, you talked about Ohtani being signed. Yamamoto is up next.
Okay.
As he meets with the Yankees on Monday in what might be a battle between the 2 New York teams.
The Mets and the Yankees.
That's right.
All right.
Then you have Montgomery, you got Snell, you got Bellinger, you got Chapman, and this outfielder Lee from Japan.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, they never even mentioned Trevor Bauer's name. That it's almost like he doesn't exist, but that's okay. I get it. He doesn't play for the United States right now. In fact, his Japanese team wants him back. But his agents are in town trying to muster up some kind of deal. And what would you, if you're out there spending all that money and you're not the Dodgers, why would you not want to put Bauer on your team? Maybe they have to do something the fans will really like. So when they get Bauer...
Too soon to talk about Bauer.
Okay, fine.
When you sign an Ohtani contract, nearly $300 million more than the contract that Mike Trout signed, and he's worth it.
Some people think he's worth it. Is he worth it? Who the hell knows if he's worth it? He's going to bring back a ton of revenue for the networks, okay, for the Dodgers merchandise and all of this stuff. But his contract is going to be the worst contract in baseball by the time it's over.
Now, you talked about Yamamoto. The Ohtani signing may affect the chances of the Dodgers, okay? They might. But the 3 favorites to sign Yamamoto would be the Mets, the Yankees, and, yes, the Dodgers.
What about the Giants? Weren't they one of the final 5 teams
The Giants were one of the final 5 teams for Judge, for Correa, for all these big players.
Well, don't they have to do something now that the Dodgers made that huge move? Don't you think they might be in on this?
I just read the Dodger pitching.
I'm talking about the Giants.
I just read you the Dodgers won't give up until they get one of the big pitchers.
Okay.
And it could be Yamamoto.
Wow.
Now, J.D. Martinez, who batted cleanup as a Dodger in the All-Star game, He'll have to find a new team, as you mentioned before. Among the teams, the Mariners, the Mets, the Diamondbacks, and the Angels certainly make plenty of sense to sign Martinez now that they know Ohtani won't be returning to Anaheim.
Yes, JD Martinez is going to go. Look, we got from Dirty Eck, big Met fan. It says, time for the Mets to wake up. Yamamoto needs to be in blue and orange. And then King Turd says that he keeps reading the Rangers TV deal is going to cause the Rangers to be very quiet this year. And he's afraid Montgomery is gone and he hates it. I think the Yankees might get Montgomery back.
Well, I don't I have no idea. But the Angels say there's no chance and they have no plans to launch a rebuild. You would think that after trading Ohtani, they would rebuild. They would think about what to do with Trout.
They haven't said anything since the Ohtani signing. They might have changed their minds. They're not stuck in stone here. Right now, they missed out on that huge piece, and they might be willing to trade. Don't you think they could have changed their mind now?
Oh, don't forget, there was 73 and 89, okay?
With Trout and Ohtani.
The opening day payroll of the 5 American League Central teams in 2023 was not as much as Ohtani's
the
payroll.
Whole American League Central.
Unbelievable.
Okay.
And now you take a look at the Dodgers. They have 5 most valuable players now on their Dodger
Freddie
roster.
Freeman is on there. Mookie Betts. Freaking Shohei Ohtani. Are you kidding me?
Let me throw one at the chat room. Let's throw one at the chat room. Only one player has won the most valuable player in both leagues.
Okay.
Who was it? One player only one has won MVP in both leagues.
Okay, I have something from Baseball 365 on Facebook. He talks about...
Mitchell is here.
Oh, it's Baseball 365 group. It's DJ Kavanaugh that made the post. He says, one of the players the Ohtani signing will have a big negative effect...
Austin Paul's here, by the way. Go ahead.
One of the players the Ohtani signing will have the biggest negative effect on for fantasy is Will Smith. He will no longer be able to DH when they are resting him at catcher, and he expects him to lose at least 10 to 12 starts next year because of it. So I thought that was an intriguing point to make from DJ Kavanaugh at Facebook.
Just to let you know, keep you posted about everything. Didn't take long. The Atlanta Braves, who just acquired Max Stassi, 24 shipped him to the White Sox.
Oh, poor Max Stassi. Yeah. What about the Heisman Trophy winner yesterday? He got no love because of Ohtani.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, I didn't even know the Heisman Trophy.
He got elected yesterday. He got no love.
That's a big deal.
Poor guy. Why did Ohtani do that?
So Yamamoto is up next. He meets with the Yankees on Monday. As I said, Montgomery, Snell, Bellinger, Chapman, and Lee.
The Yankees are rolling out the red carpet, I think, for Yamamoto, according to the reports. They say that they're going to use Matsui. They're going to have everybody on hand that they could lure him in. You know, the Yankees probably give the biggest welcome parade, right? When they're trying to get a player.
Yeah.
They pull out all the big dogs, the city lights, everything.
And that's why I believe Major League Baseball blew it by not having Ohtani being embraced by the Yankees. The Mets.
But now you have Steve Cohen with the Mets, and he might learn a little from how to woo a player over to the Mets now. Because he'll throw out the red carpet for these guys, too.
He said he had all the money to spend, but he didn't want to embarrass the other owners just by walking in and spending all his money. And I'll tell you, I am shocked that the Mets signing Ohtani, the Yankees signing Soto.
The Mets. Ohtani went to the Dodgers.
If the Mets signed Ohtani,
okay,
after Soto goes to the Yankee, it would have been unbelievable in New York. But remember, the Angels with Trout and Ohtani, Last 3 years, 77 and 85.
Right.
73 and 89 and 73 and 89. There's probably many factors that created the departure of Ohtani, but the team's inability to win will forever be associated with the fact that they had both Ohtani and Trout.
Okay, for somebody like me who's hard on people, whatever, I think Ohtani is one of the coolest people. He was able to break his own news, but he also put out a great letter to the fans and the team with the Angels, and that it will always be a part of his life and blah, blah, blah. But I'm afraid it's true. I think, obviously, the reason that they weren't able to keep him is because he wants to win. And also, nobody was going to... Clearly, the Dodgers had the most money. But it does come down to where he's going to win. And if it's true that he deferred payments of his salary, just with the intention, like it was his idea to help the Dodgers with the payroll, just to win.
Yeah, well,
give him room to win.
But, money isn't everything.
Right.
You've got to know what to do. Take a look at Tampa. They don't have the money. They just know what to do. Now, Oakland, their total payroll in the last 10 years was less than $700 million. That's what Ohtani's getting for 10 years, okay? And
so they pay less than one player's salary.
Right.
But that is crazy, and I don't know what it's going to do. We're going to see I think it's one of the most interesting things is how much has the market shifted, okay? Everything does cost more. So, how much has the market shifted? We went from Trout making $400 million to Ohtani making $700 million, okay? I don't know, man.
All right,
$43 million was the highest yearly salary, and now it's $70 million, and the increase is...
Did anybody guess who the player was who won the MVP in both leagues?
Oh, let me check it out.
Okay, because it was Frank Robinson.
Malpal got it.
Malpal got it?
Yes,
nice
he did.
Going, Malpal.
Malpal and Tina.
Frank Robinson. Now, here's another question. AAV, of course, that's what this whole contract
Average.
with... Yeah, who's got, the highest annual AAV right now in Major League Baseball? And we're not counting Ohtani.
Okay.
Name the player who has the highest AAV right now, $43 million, okay? Who is it? That's the big question, okay? Now,
okay.
So Ohtani... is expected to have a higher AAV than these teams in 2024. You're talking about the Marlins, the Brewers, the Guardians, the Royals, the Pirates, the Reds, a lot of teams, Oakland and Baltimore, same thing.
So this other tidbit is interesting, and it just puts further question mark on the average annual value and the balance tax that they do. It says that the CBT number is calculated using the average annual value of each player's contract, not necessarily what a player is actually paid that season. So that would contradict everything that we're hearing about this deferred. I can't wait to get the details on this deferred. I immediately think of guys like Bonilla. Okay, that's deferred. Or you think of guys that have just a lot of their clumped money towards the later ends of the contract. That's what I think is happening here, but I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. And if he's deferring money so that the Dodgers have more room to add players, then that wouldn't work if their competitive balance tax is calculated using a player's average annual value.
What player has the most home runs per plate appearances? Who's got the most home runs? The answer is 14.5 plate appearances. Who's the player who's got the most home runs versus plate appearances?
Is that from just this past year? Or how many years?
Okay.
Because that's a really good stat.
That's this year.
Okay. Well, can I tell the answer? Because it's important.
Well, I know that. Yeah, go ahead.
It's J.D. Martinez. He hits a home run every 14.5 plate appearances.
Okay. Now,
guess who else? Jose Siri.
Yeah, okay, it's terrific.
He's right there with J.D. Martinez.
Let's
Jose
get back to
Siri.
Ohtani.
Yes.
What happens now? He gets a $700 million. What happens if he can't pitch anymore?
Or if he chooses not to?
Or if he chooses not to. But what happens if he can't pitch? Boy, I'll tell you, I think this is one of the worst deals, and I will say it right now. It could be the worst deal in the history of Major League Baseball, and I don't give a...
It will be by the time it's done. That's almost a guarantee, dude. And they know that. It's not like we know something they don't know. They get it. They're just trying to take it in right now. And you know what? As a fan, are you annoyed that the Dodgers spent that money? Or are you freaking so excited to take your kids?
I'm not annoyed they spent it. I am annoyed that that baseball people think it's how much money you spent. You'll see. The Dodgers will not do well with this signing.
Okay.
But I'll tell you,
do you think
it takes the pressure off of AJ failure, because now Xander Bogaerts is off the hook for the worst contract in baseball.
Okay, that's true. AJ failure looks a little better now.
Yep.
Okay, it's like, look, I really love Ohtani's boots, and I like his cowboy hat, and I wonder if he's going to bring it with him to the Dodgers, or is that something that has to stay with the Angels?
Okay.
What do you think?
I have no idea.
There's some people out there that hate the little, the dugout celebrations and stuff like that.
Right.
But Ohtani made it great. He just made it great. So I hope he brings his cowboy hat.
And I thank everybody for making it into the chat room. Dirty Eck, good to see you. Chris Gallo, good to see you finally finished playing golf. Laura, Leonard Donaldson. Wow, Mitchell and Merrill are here. Tommy Johnson, triple play. Timothy, my hook. Wow, Boston Paul. Look at this. The chat room is at its best.
So Ohtani apparently has always loved to pitch, and he grew up. They constantly tried to get him to stop trying to do both. They wanted him to focus on one or the other, but he never gave it up. He went against their wishes and continued to be a pitcher and a hitter. And now his agent and they've said that there's no question as to whether or not Ohtani is going to want to pitch again, right?
Right.
But I don't know the contract. We don't know if the contract has anything in it about whether or not Ohtani has to pitch. What kind of incentives is he going to?
I haven't seen anything.
We don't know anything about that. Yeah.
I will ask you this question. Okay, this is interesting. Who's a better pitcher, Garrett Cole? I mean, right now.
Okay. Garrett
Cole or Shohei Ohtani?
Oh, give me a break. I'm never going to pick Garrett Cole as the best pitcher.
But don't go by...
I don't think he's the best pitcher. Ohtani is a better pitcher than Cole, in my opinion.
And who's a better hitter?
Not next year, that's for sure.
Who's a better hitter, Aaron Judge or Ohtani? Just hit it.
Well, that can be argued as well.
The point is that Cole and Judge, their contracts together are making less money than Ohtani.
That's the sign of the times, right?
I know it's a little overpaid.
So what about the Red Sox? They're continuing to they're looking at Seth Lugo.
Yep.
Anybody that signs right now is going to be a disappointment if his name is not Yamamoto. Every team is going to be like, oh, they get Ohtani and we get this Seth Lugo junk.
Well, you got Yamamoto, target of the Dodgers, Dylan Cease, Tyler Glasnow.
And Yamamoto.
Are also, they're more experienced. The Dodgers have discussed trade talks with both of those guys.
Okay, well, Glasnow, I'll believe that trade when I see it. I just don't see them trading Glasnow. That would be a big mistake.
Okay. Look, despite 11 straight playoff appearances and 10 of the last 11 National League West titles, the Dodgers have captured only one World Series title within this fantastic run of success.
Yeah, well, all these postseason, basically failures is what you could call them. Mm-hmm. So adding Ohtani as a hitter, does it make them? They asked the question to. It was the guy on MLB TV. You know, we like to watch MLB TV in the mornings, but he's a very well-known Bob Costas. Okay, right. They asked him, "Would you take now that the Dodgers have Ohtani? Would you bet on Ohtani or the field?" And he was very confident in his answer as betting on the field, especially with the way the playoffs are set up nowadays. Anybody can get there. It's all about who's got it when it counts. And Ohtani, sure, add another hitter to a crazy good batting lineup. I mean, you don't have room for Will Smith, for crying out loud.
Okay. And on the weekday podcast, we're going to start talking about position by position, rating all the players. But if you're planning on betting the World Series odds, right now.
I'm betting the Phillies.
World Series odds. Now that the Dodgers have Ohtani.
Or the Braves.
The Dodgers are 55-1. The Braves are 70-1. Okay? As of Monday. Okay?
I would say if you're going to bet right now, you take a team like the Mets or the Yankees or somebody that you're pretty sure is going to get Yamamoto, or at least they're going to add some significant pieces to try to win.
Mets are 2,200 to 1.
Exactly. The Mets are 2,200 to 1 right now.
220, I mean. 220.
2,200.
220.
We don't know how to read this shit.
Yes, we do. I'm telling you. That's
plus 2,500 is what it says.
That means 220 to 1. All right. Tampa is the same odds as the Mets.
Okay.
Tampa is the same odds as the Mets. The Braves are 70 to 1. The Dodgers are 55 to 1. That's what we got. This trade, what it does.
If I do betting right now, I'm betting on the freaking Mets.
After Major League Baseball screwed it up, we're expecting the biggest off season, and they stopped it. They slowed it down. They ended it with this Ohtani thing.
That just is the beginning. It now opens the floodgates. We've been waiting for this for some action.
It's now going to open up, okay?
Okay.
Anything else you want to talk about?
Let's see what else we have here. Is that it for our tidbits?
That's it for now, baby. We got nothing else to talk about. Imagine nothing, no way to justify $70 million a year.
Laura says she would also bet on the Mets plus 22.
How about that?
100. That's how I'm going to say it, because that's exactly what it says on the screen. Plus 2,200. I'm not going to try to figure out any kind of dollar amounts with this junk, okay? It's all about the reasoning behind why you bet on that certain team for those odds, because I think that, those are going to change depending on who gets Yamamoto, and everybody starts betting for that. I wish King Hap was here. We would say to King Hap, what are you doing? Because he likes to make bets all the time,
Well, let's put it this way. Chris Gallo finally found his balls. Danny Fuller's here. By the way, 631-406-7141. All right? You got that? If you want to call us before we go, that's the phone number.
King Turd says if Ohtani doesn't pitch, it's a bad deal. If he has 3 or 4 bad years, it's then a bad deal overall. All right? That's true. Now, they are going to get the international marketing and TV money, right?
Yep.
He says if they get that money up front, it'll pay for itself for sure. He's probably right about that.
Phone number is in the chat room right now.
What about Malpal's question? Is it possible Ohtani announcement delayed due to MLB analyzing the contract? Like to make sure that it's...
Oh, of course that's possible. MLB analyzes contracts for legality.
I think they put a plant on Jim Bowden to make everybody think that he was on his way to Toronto so that the Dodgers would give him more money. That's my opinion, okay? And you can only hear it here.
I don't think so. 631-406-7141. You can call even if Eddie Heckman is not here today, okay? And again, we thank everybody in the chat room. If you want to talk to us, you can call right now. The lines are free.
Captain Danny, our resident Dodgers fan, is finally awake.
Captain Danny's
great to see you, Captain Danny.
Thanks to Chris Gallo for finding his balls. Danny Fuller, Dirty Eck, we love when you make it in. James Caplion, Leonard Donaldson, Laura, Malpal, Mitchell, Merrill, Tommy Johnston, Triple Play, and the whole fam, Boston Paul, SM King Turd. Nobody has more free. Andy and I are sitting there talking before. What other couple in this country wakes up, studies baseball, and then talks about it for an hour? Nobody. We're the luckiest in the world. And we thank you for helping us achieve that.
Yes, thanks to everybody for listening in on our takes, our hot takes. It's real fun to talk about it.
We will speak to you all tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Thanks, everybody.